Hey everyone, thanks for being here to my first ever live stream. I'm super excited to do this. If you can't hear me or if you can't see me at any point, just write in the YouTube or webinar page and I will try to fix things. If not, let's get to it. Okay, so as you can see, it is clearly my first time live streaming. So trying my best here. And again, if there's any issues. Okay, so as you can see, if there's any issues, just let me know and I will try my best to figure it out. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that everything is working. And keep going with this live stream. So we'll be building out this New Yorker newsletter, and I'll be using the brand new Newsletter Glue version 3 to build it. So we've been working hard on this version 3 for a while now, and it mainly consists of different blocks. So one of the issues that we had with the original way that we had conceived of Newsletter Glue was that we would use core blocks, like the text block, heading block, image blocks, and so on, to build the newsletters, and we'd convert it into email HTML ready, or email ready HTML. And we quickly found that we ran into a lot of roadblocks with that method, especially when it came to themes kind of clashing with what we were trying to do. And so with Newsletter Glue version 3, what we hope to accomplish is a much better what you see is what you get experience. Everything is built from scratch. So we've rebuilt text, images, headings, all of those basic blocks, along with all of our Newsletter Glue blocks, so that you end up with a much more powerful experience. And we've obviously also taken the opportunity to add more customization and flexibility into the blocks that you already use to send your newsletters. So let me get into all of that a little bit more shortly. The other thing that I wanted to mention is this is the first live stream that we're doing of Newsletter Glue version 3. So what that means is version 3 hasn't been released yet, and there's still a bunch of stuff that we are fixing and are working on. And so I'll talk you through some of those things as we go. But it also means that, if you have feature recommendations, feel free to let us know and we can work that into our roadmap. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is, yeah, actually that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Okay, so let's start. So this is the New Yorker Daily newsletter that we're going to be building. As you can see, it's kind of heavy on the links or the articles, and that's kind of what newsletter glue is best for. So you can expect this live stream to kind of be a little bit long, probably over an hour, as I rebuilt all of this from scratch. And I kind of like talk you through it. And I wanted this to be a live stream rather than a webinar because I wanted you guys to be able to see kind of the nitty gritty things that I do to build the newsletter rather than kind of like an overly polished version. Okay, so on the right side of my screen, you should be able to see my the demo site. And from here we should, okay, so sorry, I'm just like kind of wondering whether this is working. I hope it is. If you, yeah, I don't know if it's not working or if you can't hear me or something, please let me know. Because again, this is my first time doing a live stream. Okay, so we are in newsletters, emails, templates and styles, and settings. So I'm going to skip ahead and kind of assume that you're moderately familiar with newsletter glue already. And we're just going to start in templates. So to build the newsletter, we actually don't want to go straight ahead and build an email because then when this is the New Yorker Daily. So when it comes to like building tomorrow's email, you have to start again and build an email from scratch. So we don't want to do that. We want to build a template instead. So we're going to start out by building a template, and then later on, I'll show you how to build the email. Thanks, Stefan. Really appreciate that. Okay, so we are in templates. We're going to just add new. Cool. So here we are in a new template. So let's go ahead and start building. So one of the features in our templates is we've actually got this template style. And this is kind of similar to global styles where you set up your headings, your colors and all of that so that, it's almost kind of like a theme for your newsletter. So I'm going to start by picking this color, this background color. Cool. And then go to background. Great. And then I think white is the content area already, so I think that's fine. I'm just going to go down to typography. I believe most of it is black. Yeah, so it's just black. That's cool. Oops. So instead of this 333, I'm just going to go pure black, and it's the New Yorker, and they're using no. Okay, that doesn't work. I'll stop doing that. But anyway, they're using Times New Roman. So let's go Times New Roman, let's go black, and I'm okay with 32, so we'll just keep it at that. And I'm just going to go ahead and do it for the rest as well. Okay, I don't think we're going to use headings 4, 5, and 6 today, so we'll just leave that. What size do I want? Let's go with 18. Times New Roman and black again. The last part is it gonna work? Yes. I wonder if clicking it. DB3334. So we want for the links, it's gonna be DB3334. Cool. And we'll do the same thing for the buttons as well, even though I know that they don't have buttons in their newsletter. Cool. Okay, so we can also adjust the mobile view. And I mean, this is just kind of personal preference, but I just prefer to make everything a bit smaller. Cool. Okay. Let's keep it at that. And so now we've finished changing the template style. So I'm just gonna go ahead and type something in, allow it to save and refresh. Just to make sure everything is loaded. All right, so we're gonna start building our newsletter. So the first thing is this view in browser, update your preferences. So one of the nice things about using the block editor to build stuff is that copy and pasting things usually works pretty well. So you'll find that I'm just going to be copying and pasting quite a few things in this case. So with the link, it's obviously not red, although we made red the default color for links just now. I'm just going to give it this color. I think it's okay. It's also not Times New Roman. So you'll notice, again, previously we didn't have all of these options to change the font family every single time. With text, I think the core block just doesn't have this. So we've added all of this, and you'll find that the only fonts you see here are the ones that are safe for email. And let's go with 13, 12, 11. There we go. That looks good. Okay, I'm happy with that. The next section is an image. So we have the option of copying the image, like I said, and pasting it. I've already built this email to test. So I've uploaded the images already. So we can go to Image, Media Library, and select the right image. Here we go. Okay, happy with how that looks, so I'm just gonna keep going. Now they've got a date here. So one thing cool is that we've actually made our metadata block a lot more flexible. So I'm just gonna pull it up. So, again, in theory, you are free to write out the date, but then that makes it much less of a template because you have to manually be writing the date each time. So definitely don't want to do that. Instead, we're going to use the metadata block, and this pulls up a whole bunch of different metadata. And all of this is new, as you can see. So we now have the option to hide stuff. So we want to hide author, issue number, reading time, read online, and we just want date. Obviously, if you want, more stuff, you can always do that. It's completely up to you, but in our case, we just want the date. And if we want to change the date to the same format here, just expand and select the one that's relevant to you. Cool. And then let's just center the text and change the font family. There we go. I think it's a bit bigger, so let's do 13. Cool. Okay, so this is the first time where we have something, or the New Yorker Daily has something that we haven't finished building yet, and that's a separator block. So we don't have that, so I'm just going to cheat in this case, and I'm just going to do this. Okay, so let's pretend that this is a separator block. I'm just going to center it, and we'll just live with it. Okay. So this is our first kind of big featured article. So as you might already be familiar, you have the option of doing a post embed block or a latest post block in order to display this featured article. So for the purposes of this live stream, I'm going to use the post embed block first, and then for the later articles, I'll use the latest post block just so that you can see the differences between the two and how you can use them. But in reality, depending on what you want to do, you can use either. So in this case, we're going to use the post embed block, and you'll see that it looks now quite different from the old post embed block, so the old post embed block required you to enter the URL directly inside the block editor, like the editor side of things. And while this was really convenient, it also moved away from what you see is what you get kind of a feel. Whereas with the new post embed block, everything is on the right hand admin settings, and so the live editor area is very much what you see is what you get. Okay, let's copy link address. That should work, I think. And you go here, and let's paste that in. See what. Okay, I'm not sure what's that. Ah, cool, that worked. Okay, so now you have the option. So all the options that you used to see here are now over here. So over here, if you click on the link, you're able to update the link. You can also delete the link if you want to. And if you have multiple links, you can move them around. So another big update that we have for the post embed block is we now have a lot more control. So you can remove the featured image if you want, the label, heading, and all of this can be moved around so that you can get the exact look that you're looking for. Okay, so in our case, we want it to look like this. So let's go full the label. Okay, let's turn off call to action, turn on author, move that to the bottom. Just going to manually add that. Yeah, sure. And so this kind of looks like a category. And this kind of depends on the metadata of the article itself. But in this case, it doesn't seem to have it. So we're just going to manually add it in. Cool. So that looks pretty close to what we want. So now let's just adjust the color. So label, we're going to go with red. Okay, let me just copy this. Paste it here. And author, let's go black. Cool. title, text, let's go a bit bigger, 16. Label is also a bit bigger, 16 as well. And we'll keep the author font size small for now. So you can see for now we are kind of lacking bold, italics, and font options for certain data. And so this is something that we'll be improving in the future. But I think that this gets us pretty close regardless. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna keep going. So I'm just gonna duplicate this separator, or my fake separator, to create this one. And I'm just gonna give it a lighter color. Okay, there we go. And then now we have this image, which again we've already added, or I already added when I was testing. Let's make it a bit smaller. That looks about right. Okay, now let's do a heading block. News desk. Okay, so I'm kind of assuming that this is going to be an H2. Center align, italics, it's probably way too big. Okay, that looks good. So one cool feature that we've added to all of our blocks is this feature to apply the settings that we have set here to all other blocks of that type. So what I mean is that, you know how previously this is what our H2 looks like. Now this is what our H2 looks like. So when we click apply, you'll see that it changes so that it looks the same as the one that we've just built. So that again is just going to help you save time. Stefan says, will I still be able to display the latest posts from the last X days, including the number of posts to display? Yes, I will get to that in a couple of seconds. So this one was the post embed block, which works a little bit different from the latest post block. So here's what the latest post block looks like. Right now it's still loading posts. Okay, so now we want to pick the right posts. So there are 2 posts here. So I'm just gonna click 2, click on update block. And by the way, the latest post block is only able to display posts from your internal site. So what I've done in this case for the purposes of this live stream demonstration is create articles and use the featured image and titles from the New Yorker. So in your case, if you're trying to pull posts externally, you are going to have to use the post embed block. And if you wanted to do a combination of external and internal posts, then you would use the post embed block as well. So again, the latest post block only works for internal posts that you published on your own site. Okay, so we've set number of posts to display. Here we're just going to select this category and this category. So comment and New Yorker Radio Hour. There we go. Click on update block. Awesome. I am not, yeah, there we go. It's just lagging a bit. Okay, so we've got the exact articles that we want. So now it's just about designing them to make them look better. And just kind of as a refresher, we're actually in the template. Right now, we're not building an email, we're just building the template. And so basically what that means is that when you start to build out your actual email, there'll be some changes that you have to make. And I'll go into that later on. But for now, we're just trying to build as close to what we see here first, so that you can kind of get an idea, and then we'll make the adjustments later. Okay, so image placement, we want the image on the right, so let's move it, and we want the ratio to be 50-50. Boom, awesome. That already looks much closer. So I'm gonna copy this, change the label, and so we want to remove this call to action, so you can just hide it. But just so you know, all of this stuff is editable, so if you wanted to change it to something else, you can. If you wanted to change it to a button instead of a link, you can do that as well. This one's not changing because we have edited it manually. So one thing also to note is that there's now a reset button. So now that I've messed with this and I regret it, you can just click reset and that goes back to how it originally looks. So there'll be a reset button for you. Just take note of that. Okay, so in our case, we don't want a call to action at all, so let's turn that off. Author is turned off right now. Let's turn it back on and let's move it down to the bottom. Great. So I'm gonna make the author black. Cool. I think that already looks pretty clear, pretty similar to the original. Change the label. Great. So I think this looks pretty much what we're looking for. The only other thing, again, like I mentioned, italics, bold, all of that kind of stuff, font face. This stuff is coming. We just haven't finished building it. But these are kind of relatively smaller features. Sorry, just taking a tea break. Okay, so happy with how this looks. Oh, one other thing that's cool that I should mention is that we now have much better spacing control as well. So all of the blocks come with spacing. So in this case, for example, it says 35 and it's, way too much spacing than here. So we can just remove it. Boom. So now that looks a lot closer. And if you want to be, super particular, you can even, let's adjust the spacing here a little bit as well. Okay. So I'm just gonna copy all of this and paste it again. Text. So duplicate. Nope. Okay, that did not work. There we go. Okay, so this will allow us to get started on the next section. Editor's picks. And this one is a little bit different because it has two different layouts. So we're actually gonna copy this one because this is the layout that we already want. I'm gonna duplicate that. Move that all the way down. Great. Okay, and this will allow us to start building. So I'm gonna copy this link. And remember, so we can click on this and update the link. And the label here is onward and upward with the art. And again, we are building this with a post embed block, but feel free to do it with the latest post block as well. Second section is this Shohei Ohtani article. So let's click on the latest post block and set the articles to display as 1. And then let's pick the correct category. Cool. And so in this case, I had a typo in the actual article. So if you see that, you can easily fix it because all of this is editable. And I forgot to change this, so let me just go ahead and do that right now. Just switch out the image. Let's make sure we choose the same size. 85, 77. Oh, it's not going to be the same. Nope, that was a bad idea. Let's just... No. No, I have messed with it permanently. Let me just pick it again. Cool, so clearly that's something that we have to fix as well. Great. And I mean, to be honest, part of the reason why I'm doing these is also for dog fooding purposes, which means trying out my own product to see, where the issues are before we release it. So this is all really helpful. Cool. So let's just add an author here. Okay, so that looks pretty much how we want it to look. So I'm just gonna go back. What should I do? Here, here, and here. Nope, that's too much. Oh, okay. Let's do this. And duplicate. And move all of that down. Okay, so now we're going to go to culture department. So I think you're kind of getting the hang of it by now. So change the image. Change the heading. And in this case, there are 3 latest posts. So I'm going to select 3. Update block. And nothing shows up because I've chosen these 2 categories. So let's go with the food scene and poems. Empty block. Okay, so now in this case, you can kind of see that this one's showing up at the bottom. So chances are if you're doing a daily newsletter, you're not too concerned with the exact order of these posts. But in our case, just so that we can make it exactly the same and also show you the different features that we have, you can just go to sort by and choose oldest to newest, and you'll see that it's in the correct order now. Cool. And so, now we can just go and fix the names. Cool. Okay, and let's do this one last time. Select all the text and duplicate. Great. So finally, we're at the Fun and Games department. Oops, same problem. Cool. And now we want to update the post again. So one thing that I want to mention in terms of using the latest post block and selecting the right posts for the latest post block. Right now, I'm just kind of doing it using the category filter options. But one way that you could do it if you have multiple articles every day and you're writing a daily newsletter is tag the articles for the section that you want in the newsletter. So for example, you could tag these articles under Fun and Games department, and then just put Fun and Games department here, and then these will show up. So that's kind of another way to do it. And then likewise, for the culture department, you tag these articles under culture department, and then they will show up. So lots of kind of ways to work with the latest post block. And if you're particularly technical, you can even create your own custom taxonomy, like a newsletter glue tags taxonomy, and then do that. And so, if you're already using tags and having them show up in your publication, and you don't want, Fun and Games department to show up as your tags, then create a custom taxonomy and no one will ever see it. Hope that makes sense. So I'm just choosing daily shouts and cartoons. Great. Cool. So it shows up exactly how we want. I'm not going to bother in this case, but obviously if you want, you can change the names. And, these show up naturally based on the article. So if, you can always remove it or hide it or update it if you want as well. Cool. So we're almost at the end. The next section that we want to build is these columns. So just taking a quick break. Okay. So I'm going to use the columns block, and in this case it's kind of like, I don't know, 2080 or even 1090. I'm going to go with 2080. And so here I'm just going to click image, media library. I'm gonna copy, paste. Cool. So in this case, they have the link as blue. Let's pick the exact color. 087 CC3. Cool. So now obviously, it kind of looks the same, but there's a lot of stuff that we have to update. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to make this much smaller. And guess that's okay. I think that looks a bit better. Let's move that to the middle as well then. Cool. I also want to reduce the spacing between blocks. There's nothing there. Looks like there's nothing here as well. Okay, and the final thing is that this block is much smaller. It doesn't go to the edges, if you can tell. So I'm going to do that by increasing the padding here. There we go. I think that more or less looks how we want. There's also padding in the text, so let's reduce that. Great. Now we're starting to get it looking a lot closer to what we're looking for, so pretty happy with that. The next part is this full width image. So let's go to image. Just move it to the full width. Great. Finally, this thanks for reading section. So I'm going to add a container. And let's pick the color of this container. Okay, give it an image. It's already centered, which is great. Let's make it a bit smaller. Thanks for reading. And let's copy this. Okay, so again, we don't want the links to be red. We want them just to be black. So let's change that. Center align. Cool. Let's kind of assume that this link is correct. Great. And we are on the home stretch. So let's copy and paste this. Okay, so a couple of things that we want to do here. Okay, so we have the option of changing the text formatting for each of these blocks. But what might save us some time is if we put all of these blocks into a container. And then we adjust the container options themselves. So this is just kind of a way to, it just makes things neater and more elegant. And what should the font size be? 11? 12. Okay. It's not quite black. So let's go with this kind of dark gray. Let's copy that. Make the links dark gray as well. And we're done. So the last thing that I noticed is that this again doesn't go to the end. So I'm going to select the container and put more space over there. Just do even more. Great. I am happy with how this looks. So the last thing that we have to do is make it mobile friendly. So the cool thing about using all of our blocks and the new Newsletter Glue version 3 is that we have mobile viewpoints. So you can access them in two ways. The first is to click this and go to mobile. The second is to just click on any of the blocks and go to mobile. And you'll be able to see everything here the way you intended. So let's make some changes. 11. It's okay. Should still be centered. I think it's too big. There we go. I'm kind of wondering why. This needs to be smaller as well. Just make this 0. So as you can see, there are still some things that we have to adjust. With regards to mobile, but I think it's okay. These will all have been worked out by the time we launch. Cool. So when you're happy with how everything looks, you can scroll all the way down and send yourself a test email. Let's save draft first. Send the test email. And we can also preview the email in browser. This is how the email looks. Okay, clearly something to work on here. Let's go back. Great. Save draft. Okay, so now that we've created the template, the only thing that we have to do now is transfer this into an actual email. So there are a couple of things that you have to think about when doing that. So the first is, which sections do you want to be dynamic, like kind of auto updating versus manually updating? So in the case of the latest post type, this is kind of dynamic. You set the filters, and based on the filters you've set, the posts will show up every time you create a new newsletter using this template. With the post embeds, it's slightly different. So post embeds are links you've manually added to the newsletter. So in this case, you like how it's looking, you like how it's set up, but you don't want this particular link to show up every single time you send out the newsletter. So in this case, you would delete this particular post, but you want to keep the post embed block, because having the post embed block here allows you to just paste in the link, and then it will show up formatted the way you like. So likewise with this one, which let me just quickly, yep. So I'm happy with how it looks. I just don't want this particular link, so I'm going to delete this link. And again, it's there, it's just hidden because there isn't any post. And that's kind of how you want it to be, because you don't want this particular post to show up every single time. Okay, happy. I am going to publish this template. Now let's go out, and let me just quickly give this template a name. Okay, so it's a new day and you want to write your newsletter. You go to emails and you select your template. Livestream demo, this is the one. Cool. So here's the template. And now it's just a matter of filling in the blanks. So assuming you want this link, you click on the post embed block, add the link back. And everything else is pre-populated based on the filters that you've chosen. There's nothing for you to do in this case. So if you're happy with how it looks, again, you want to definitely preview the email in browser and send yourself a test email And when you're happy with how it looks, you can select the relevant list. Let's just do that. Toggle on and send your newsletter. So let's quickly take a look at what our newsletter looks like. It's not showing up. Just give me a second.
AAA, credits alright. Hang up the phone and let your heart break. Only in LA, 24 twice. She's on the phone, but she's staying.
This is the test. It's not exactly the one that we just built, but it's pretty close. And as you can see, everything looks the way you'd expect. So like I said, this is not exactly the one that we built, but just as an example. Cool, and we are done. So that's the live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got to see kind of a sneak peek of what the new, more powerful, more flexible newsletter glue will look like. I'm really proud of it. I hope that you are really excited to use it. If you have any questions, any feature requests, please let me know. I'll be super excited to make them happen for you. And if you have a request for the next live stream newsletter that we build, let me know that as well. This was my very first time live streaming, so thanks for your patience, and I hope you enjoyed it. See ya.